Most people know the SR-71. Almost no one knows the A-12. But before the Blackbird became a legend, its older sibling was already rewriting physics. The A-12 Oxcart wasn't an Air Force project. It was a CIA ghost built in the shadows, flown in silence, and hidden behind layers of deniability so deep that even the Pentagon didn't know the full story. Here's what they never told you. The A-12 was lighter than the SR-71. Faster, higher flying, a single-seat machine with no RSO, no second pair of eyes, and no margin for error. It carried one pilot alone at the edge of space with nothing but speed and altitude between him and the missiles below. Operation Black Shield was its final act. A handful of pilots flying into the most defended airspace on Earth, collecting intelligence satellites couldn't reach, at speeds no missile was supposed to match. But the truth is simpler. The A-12 wasn't built to be admired. It was built to be denied. For decades, its missions were sealed, its pilots unnamed, its victories unspoken. Only when the program was declassified did the world learn that the fastest jet ever flown wasn't the SR-71, it was the Oxcart. Some legends stay hidden longer than others. That morning at Kadena was already hot, but the aircraft waiting on the ramp radiated its own kind of heat, the kind that came from a machine designed to outrun the world. Article 131, the A-12 Oxcart, the fastest, highest-flying operational jet ever built, and on this day, it was about to earn that title the hard way. CIA pilot Dennis Sullivan sat in a cramped room lit by a single buzzing fluorescent tube. The map on the table showed North Vietnam a web of SAM sites, radar nets, and kill zones. The officer tapped a point on the map. 6 SA-2 batteries here. You'll be over them at 84,000 feet. They'll fire anyway. Sullivan didn't flinch. He simply nodded, sealed his pressure suit, and walked toward the jet that leaked fuel like a wounded animal, because at Mach 3, the titanium would swell shut. Climbing to 70,000 feet, the sky turned black. At Mach 3.1, the cockpit temperature climbed past 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The A-12 wasn't flying, it was burning its way across the top of the atmosphere. Then the RWR lit up. One tone, then 2, then 6. Every SA-2 site in range had launched. The SA-2 guideline was a brutal weapon, Mach 3.5, a 440-pound warhead, and a proximity fuse designed to shred aircraft that dared to fly high. The first missile streaked upward, contrails twisting like a white-hot corkscrew. Sullivan pushed the throttles. The A-12 surged. At this altitude, there was no turning, no dogfighting, no second chances, only speed. The missile passed so close 200 meters that the shock wave rattled the cockpit glass. The second missile detonated below him. The third went wide. The fourth lost lock. But the fifth missile did something no one expected. It didn't hit the aircraft. It hit the air around it. The nose cone shattered under the stress of the intercept, spraying molten shrapnel upward, a shotgun blast of metal fragments traveling at hypersonic speed. One piece, just one, found its mark. It punched through the lower wing fillet, tore through the titanium skin, and buried itself against the wing tank support structure. Sullivan felt nothing. He saw nothing. He just kept flying, because at Mach 3, you don't feel damage. You outrun it. Hours later, the A-12 rolled to a stop at Kadena. The ground crew approached cautiously, the jet still radiating heat like a forge. A mechanic crouched under the wing. "Sir, you need to see this." Embedded in the titanium was a jagged piece of Soviet metal still warm. The hangar went silent. This was it. The only time in history a Blackbird A-12 or SR-71 ever took enemy fire and survived. The only battle damage ever recorded, and the pilot never even knew. The mission happened just years after the U-2 shoot-down of Francis Gary Powers, the event that nearly ended high-altitude reconnaissance forever. The A-12 was built to prevent that from ever happening again. And on October 30th, 1967, it proved why it existed. Not because it was invincible, but because it was just fast enough. Some say the A-12 was untouchable. Others say this mission proves it was one lucky fragment away from disappearing into history. What do you think? Was the Oxcart unstoppable, or just unbelievably fortunate that day?